Hey everyone, it's great to be with you today, and I'm going to be talking about sexual betrayal, deception, and lies, and how we can help our partners restore their true identity, their minds, brains, and bodies to health. So there's a question we all ask when we're sitting in the room with a partner, and we wonder, what do we do with these partners when their lives as they know it fall apart? Partners need to be validated. They need to be heard and seen. And oftentimes, I feel like I'm in the ICU ward of a hospital, and I'm really listening to someone who's been impacted by something. In fact, I even imagine them on a gurney and introduce those kind of terms to them so that they can begin to feel like, okay, I get it. I've been impacted. One of the first things that happens with betrayal trauma is that we get these negative shame beliefs, these core issues about ourselves that impact us. They impact the way that we see ourselves. We feel insignificant, we feel imperfect, we feel invisible and isolated, helpless, and even irate. And so one of the questions I ask is, what is the negative belief about yourself in light of what happened to you? These are some of the phrases, these are some of the messages that partners have told me. They say things like this: I'm disposable and replaceable. I have no value. I'm ugly and my body was never beautiful enough to catch or keep his attention. The women you had the affair with were actually better than me. I'm not in control. I'm incredibly angry and I can't trust anybody. I can't even trust myself. So these shame beliefs make partners want to hide. 3 things cause shame. Brene Brown, who's, as we all know, is a great shame researcher, she talked about the 3 things that grow shame, and that is secrecy, judgment, and silence. So what's the antidote? It's empathy. Empathy is, you're not alone. I know. Me too. I'm understood, validated, and I feel safe with you. We don't have to scream anymore to be heard, to be understood. Well, the truth of it is, I get it. I have my own betrayal story that includes a husband who acted out with porn, affairs, and prostitutes. My name is Dr. Sheri Keffer. I've been in practice for almost 20 years, and I'm a consultant in EMDR, so I love working in the trauma ward. I'm a partner trauma specialist, and I actually speak with men and women on as a regular co-host on New Life Live radio and TV program. So part of my work to treat and understand partners has come through my own journey of healing my own sexual wounds and helping others heal theirs. The good news is you can heal, and change is possible, and there is a way forward. So how can we as clinicians assist these partners in unspindling what's happened to them and help to heal their brain, body, minds, and spirit? We've got to start with how we see them. So what is our lens? How are we looking at this impacted person? Traditional models of treatment is a disease model, whereas we are sick. Co-addict, co-sex addict are terms that are often used, like we're addicted to our husband, or we're 2 heat-seeking missiles that somehow found each other, and we do snooppervising. Actually, there's a new lens that's come out in the last few years, and it's called a trauma model, which means we're impacted. There's no labels, no name calling, and we really address the behaviors through a trauma lens. It's filled with compassion and dignity. It helps women get self-care, or men get self-care, trauma treatment, and empowerment. So when I heard these 2 schools of thought, I began to ask the question, what's true? Kind of like looking at an elephant and seeing, is that the trunk, is it a leg, or is it a tail I'm holding? What is true about these 2 lenses? So I set out and started doing my own research to see if I could understand betrayal trauma and the impact. While I was in Mod 2 as being trained to be a CSAT certified person, I actually met Dr. Kevin Skinner. And he has created a trauma inventory for partners of sex addicts. And at the training, I asked him, I said, would you mind if I use this as part of my study so that I can have an assessment tool to gauge what's going on? And so he was generous enough to let me do that, and I started my work. I actually stopped what I was doing and started it with his tool. This tool is embedded in the PTSIR, and so again, it brings value to what we're doing here as clinicians so that we can see what's going on with our clients. So I encourage you to use the PTSIR. So I looked at 100 women participants that I met all over the United States in workshops that I've done for the last 6 years. The ages of the women ranged from 29 to 72. Their marriage time was anywhere between not all of them are married, but their marriage time was anywhere between several months to 48 years. Some were divorced, some were living together, some were separated, but 76% of them were married. The average length of their marriage was actually 20 years. What we found is the TIPSA actually scored positively with the PTSD. And so, wow, touchdown. We made that, we saw that it actually correlated. Second thing is 76% of the partners I studied had symptoms of PTSD. They felt violated by their partner's sexual behaviors, and 80% of them said, I avoid contact with my partner since discovering their behaviors. And since learning about their behaviors, 84% of them said it's difficult to undress in front of their partner. Due to my partner's sexual behavior, 67% of them said, I've become concerned that I might actually get an STD. So a lot of fear in that relationship. The third thing I discovered is 79% of these women actually reported at least one adverse childhood experience. We use the ACE, the ACE, to kind of take a look at, have these partners actually experienced childhood painful experiences, or are we dealing with betrayal trauma from their current situation? 79% of them reported at least one. So 20 of the women said, I have no ACE symptoms. I have no ACE childhood experiences. 51 answered 1 through 4. They said, I've got 1 through 4 of these things that happened to me. And 28 of the women had 5 to 10 of, yes, I have had a childhood experience. So what that says to us is it's both. The 21 women who reported no symptoms actually had 43% PTSD. The ones, 79% of them, actually ranged 43 to 53% PTSD symptoms. So we find that there's a very similar, it shows us we've got similarity in the PTSD symptoms. It makes us lean in and say we need to treat the trauma of the betrayal first and then begin to unpack any childhood issues that might be there. So the last thing, number 4 that I looked at is we did a blame, denial, and deception scale. So I asked partners a question. Which of the following feels more damaging to you? The knowledge about my partner's sexual acting out behaviors, or the continued patterns of lies that came after finding out what they'd done? You know what they answered? 35% of them said it was the knowledge, and 65% of them said it's the lies. One of them that I talked to said, you lied to me. The person I trusted most lied over and over and over again, and I get that. That deception harms us. In the midst of that, I asked them, so would you be willing to stay with this person who betrayed you if they stopped lying? Do you know how many women answered yes to that? 86% said, yes, I will stay with them if they would stop lying. So what does that say to us? Tenacity. Our partners have an incredible amount of tenacity, and I believe if we can help them find a way that they can find out what they need, get their voice, help them remember the truth of who they are, not these shame beliefs that get attached to them, if we can help peel off that shame belief and start bringing them the truth that you are enough, you are worthy, you are lovable, instead of I'm stupid, how did I miss this, that you were deceived, you didn't see it coming, you were sucker punched, grounding these women back into their body, into the truth of who they are, they can actually fight better for their families. They can actually work with more tenacity in their marriages, and they can actually become stronger in their own healing because now they're looking at it that I've been impacted, and so we can work with them and move with them on the repair. So doot, 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 doot. Cool stuff that's going on. Dr. Skinner and I have actually been IRB approved to do a much larger study. The one that I did was with 100 women, but so we're actually in the process of taking the TIPSA and making it better so that we can do it on a grander scale and see if the data that we collected in this early study actually matches something on a much larger scale. So Dr. Kevin Skinner, myself, Dr. Shondell Knowlton, and Dr. Jill Manning are getting ready to venture out, and we're excited to tell you what we find out coming further. So when there's research, then again, that helps to validate what we're seeing right in front of us in the room. So my hope for us is that we learn about the PTSD, that we gather compassion and dignity for what's going on as a trauma reaction, and we help that partner quiet by finding out what they need, what will make you feel safe, and how can we help you find your voice and become an advocate for what you need in the repair. So keep watch on what's going on with me at braveone.com. That's my site for partner trauma. Feel free to send your partners there to get resources and to listen to my blog, or drsherikeffer.com. Glad to be with you today, and thanks for listening.